They pop crowds. They pop corn. They pop culture. It's the Lowdown.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the latest installment of the Lowdown Podcast, Popcast. It's all the same thing. I am the voice of PCW. No, I'm not.
The voice.
That's what they tell me.
I don't know about that. Oh, you say we're live.
Man, what? I'm telling you. Where's Elliot posting when you need him?
I don't know. He passed out last week. Hadn't heard from him since.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lowdown Podcast. I am the founder of the hottest professional wrestling organization in the Mid-Atlantic. What is wrong with you, bro? Come on now. I am the owner.
You over here waving me off like I can just hit stop.
No. Can we start over?
No.
Why not?
We're live.
Oh, we're live, pal. I am the host of the Shane event. I am New York's greatest export. I am Shane Dorr, and to my left, we have the one and only 7-time fantasy football champion. He is a podcast enthusiast, soon to be Kevin Nash's favorite podcaster, and just like his favorite wrestler, my least favorite wrestler, I might add, he's been known to outwork everyone, even though some may argue he just works everyone. With his self-proclaimed hottest Funko Pop collection, not your average wrestling mark handbook, Johnathan Winburn. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, man?
Oh, my God, man. It's one of those days.
It is. Elliot trusted us to take off the training wheels, and immediately you just steered right
I just rode us right off a cliff.
into a cliff.
That's what I do. What can I say? Oh, man. You just don't realize how valuable somebody is until they're gone. You don't know what you got.
That sounded a lot worse than what it.
Well,
A lot darker than what it needed to be. I think.
no, it didn't mean to be that. No, he's listening in, but wait till you hear that, Elliot. You'll be very proud of me.
You say L.A. Elliot?
No, L.A. Knight.
That's what it sounded like.
Oh, my God. Elliot, I fumbled it. I turned it over like Dak Prescott.
I got here early. We spent 2 hours rehearsing this thing in the first 10 seconds.
I don't know. It was just one of those things, man. Like, Elliot is...
He does do a lot.
Elliot is the glue. He is the glue. You just don't realize Exactly.
Yep.
That is so true.
Even though he left us this week.
Oh, well, he's down there in Florida getting ready to hop on that House of Mouse boat.
Speaking of the House of Mouse, I heard somebody just graduated Disney College.
I did. You proud of me?
I am.
Bro, that was so ridiculous. So, as I alluded to earlier, I am a travel agent with Flyer Float Travel, but Disney is tough, bro. Like literally last night, it's like 15 hours worth of material you have to do. It's like a college course, and I knocked it all out last night. From like 8 p.m. straight to about 4:30 this morning.
But did you actually watch it and pay attention?
Every
you just have it playing in the background while you were playing Madden?
No, it was downstairs in the living room, bro. I didn't want no distractions, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited because, Elliot raised about the Disney stuff, and I figured I'm gonna have to hop on a Disney cruise myself. So
now I got somebody to book my actual Disney World vacations with too.
Hey, that's what I do. So I can do Disney, Walt Disney World. I can do Disneyland. I can do Universal. I can do Disney Cruise Line. So Adventures by Disney, the river cruises. I'm pretty stoked. But it's been a fun venture, man. Handling people's most important travel arrangements. It's a big responsibility, but it's kind of rewarding because I get to feel like I'm going on vacation, while I'm booking it for them. So it's
makes you want to go even more there, doesn't it?
Depends on where they're going.
See, it would be everywhere for me. I'd see pictures and be like, I'm in.
Yeah. I'm working on one right now. They're trying to get to Mexico all inclusive. So I'm pretty stoked. But anyway, enough of me. How's your week been, man?
It's been good. It's been busy.
Yeah.
Did a lot of stuff around the house and got some stuff clean and some, starting off the new year right, going back to the gym.
What?
Eating a little bit healthier. Yeah.
What are you eating?
Lots of protein. Kind of not really keto, but watching my carb intake a little bit.
And that's keto.
I said watching it. I didn't say limit.
Dirty
Completely
keto.
limiting. Yeah.
Dirty keto. Nah, that's all right, man. Going to the gym, lifting weights, clanging and banging.
Got to get in. I'm trying to get the whole family in. Son's ready to go. Wife says she's ready to go, but she's not so much when it gets time to go.
If your wife goes to the gym, what's she doing at the gym? She treadmilling?
No, she wants to. I mean, she likes running on a treadmill, but she don't like being in the same place. So she's talked about wanting to get into a little bit of lightweight lifting. But
well, that's awesome, man. The couple that works out together stays together. That's what they say.
What about you? How's your week been?
Great, sort of, kind of. I was really, really sick, so for a few days.
Started off good, went bad. That's the way that comment started.
Yeah. Just think about all the sickness that's going around, man. All these children sick every day. Just one of those things. But I mean, our week started off pretty good. Our feed into this episode kind of started actually at the end of the episode last week because it was for New Japan Pro Wrestling, Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, I stayed up and luckily made it through the next day at work. I mean, I like less than 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Surprised I got any. Went to work and had to work all day, but made it home. And I ended up, so the sad thing is I made it home and I fell asleep watching Dynamite for like 45 minutes and woke up, and then I ended up staying up till like 5 a.m. the next night.
Shoot.
I had an hour power nap.
It was your first Wrestle Kingdom experience live, right?
It was. Well, not just live, just period. I think I've watched maybe one or two Wrestle Kingdom matches, like going back and watch Kenny versus Okada, but this was my first, not even Wrestle Kingdom, we'll just say just New Japan as a whole.
And what are your takeaways from what you saw?
I mean, I enjoyed the show thoroughly. I mean, there was a lot of talent on the show for sure. Some I had heard of just because they've shown up on AEW or some other company recently. So that helped a little bit, having a little exposure to some of the talent on the card. But overall, the show looked nice. I mean, I like the setup. Camera was good. I mean, the commentary was good for what it, considering it was a Japan show. I mean, it was like live commentary with them there at ringside.
Yeah.
We got some surprises, or so-called surprises. We got a Mercedes showing up.
Monet.
Yeah, Monet.
What did you think of? I mean, I have my opinion on the whole thing with Mercedes or Bernardo, whatever you want to call her. But what was your impression of that debut?
The debut itself, I think it was a big deal.
Well, first we gotta welcome the Glue. The Glue is in the chat room. Elliot Popston, live from Florida. Thank you for joining us, buddy. We appreciate you. Appreciate you letting us take the reins, even though the first 15 seconds is, well, let's just hope it goes uphill from there.
I was going to say it can't go downhill, but it sure can.
Woo. All right, anyway. So, Mercedes.
Pray we don't run into any issues during the show.
Well, we'll find out.
Elliot did not leave us notes for that.
Hey, guys, here's what you do if you F up.
Yeah. So Mercedes, I think the debut was a big deal. Her look was definitely interesting, but I think that plays into the Japan aspect a little bit. I think that they, following her on social media, I mean, it's been nothing but a lot of fans sharing artwork and stuff of her debut, drawings and stuff. So I think the look was definitely tailored towards the Japan audience. Very anime-ish. The flames, some people said the flames were a callback to Eddie.
Okay, that would make a little sense.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it, but I don't know if that was it or not. But I think the action afterwards and the promo were left a little to be desired for sure. Her move didn't really get executed as well as it needed to. but I don't know if that's on her or who she was in the ring with. But
yeah, something looked sloppy there. I think it was. I would attribute it more to her. Maybe it could be nerves, man. I mean, you've been in the American wrestling market for years, exclusively, and you've been wanting to tap into a whole new market like Japan, who's very, very. It's not an easy market, especially with how the crowds react and don't react, or not allowed to react at certain points. Sometimes, you're making your debut in front of a crowd who doesn't really speak your language necessarily. So you don't know what to expect. I can't imagine. I imagine her nerves are up there with like a WrestleMania moment, man. Just because, I mean, place was packed. Place was packed. I love this. I love the gear. The hair was a little weird for me. Her promo was awful. But again, I attribute that to who she was speaking in front of. I think that has a lot to do with it. Now,
I think we got to remember too, though. So it's not just a different audience, but she hasn't been on TV in a wrestling aspect, promo wise, or in the ring doing moves in 8 months?
Yeah,
something like that. So I mean, there's definitely, even though she's been practicing, there's definitely some rust you got to knock off there for one. And we also, I know this was the first show I think that Japan has allowed the crowd to react, but the crowd wasn't really reacting to a lot of stuff the whole show. So I don't know if that's,
well, they were all in masks. I mean, that would make things a little bit more difficult.
so I mean, they still might. I think her debut was still impactful. I mean, they said it was the show itself was a hit. I mean, Wrestle Kingdom
They
as
said
a whole
40,000 subscribers
from the U.S.
for her anticipated debut. So now let me ask you this: had that debut been in front of a AEW crowd in, say, Chicago and All Out, or a Double or Nothing, what would that reaction have been?
Oh, I think it would have been huge.
Okay.
Not as big as Punk. I think that might be one of the biggest returns we see in a while. Just because it was so long in the making, but I definitely see it
Bigger than Saraya.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So now, does that happen? Does she go to AEW? I know. I get what they're trying to do. If they're trying to, lead us astray with breadcrumbs, you go this way. Don't look at what's happened over here. Look at what's over here. Listen to this. But I can't help it. My opinion, I can't help but think that she's AEW bound, man.
So I don't know. I was completely sold on the fact that she was AEW bound. I mean, the whole mystery partner thing, it made I thought she would have a program with Jade, not the coming in the tag match. But once they announced it and they kind of teased it, it definitely seemed like that was the route they were headed. Even in the promo with Britt on the last show where they announced her partner, Britt said, "I'm the boss around here," and winked. So it calls back to Punk where they were definitely playing into it. But I thought something would happen on Rampage where, Sheeta would eliminate Tony, or there'd be some friction or stuff, and that didn't. From what I saw, that didn't happen. I mean, Britt and them had a match, nothing happened afterwards. I don't know. I'm not quite. I've actually backed away from the fact or from the idea that she shows up this week.
Really? My worry is if she doesn't, they allow for something to die down, right? Because right now she's the talk of the town in pro wrestling, especially women's pro wrestling. She is the conversation piece. She's the cornerstone. She is the backbone. I think if you're going to take advantage of it, it has to be now. You got to strike. What's the saying? Strike while iron's hot, right?
Yep.
So
I mean, I think that they should. I think they need to bring her in, but I don't know. I like seeing her debut and then just everything that I've read, everything that's happened in the last week. I don't know. It just seems like my opinion's starting to change. Like I was probably 95% sure she was going to show up, and I'm probably a 60% sure chance that she'll show up.
Ooh, but you're still leaning toward it then.
Because it just makes too much sense. I mean, as a company that's really built on the wrestling aspect and trying to continue to make a name for themselves, I just don't see how you don't bring her in. I mean, this is, I'm thinking back to Kurt in TNA, kind of one of those deals. I just don't see how they can not bring her in, but I don't know if I don't know what her her New Japan contract might say that she can't be there, or that she can't be there until after her match at next month. So I don't know. We'll see.
So then you had Monday Night Raw. Did you catch any Monday Night Raw?
Caught enough.
Okay. So obviously
I saw a few things.
You saw the big takeaway. I think the biggest takeaway in WWE right now, other than the Bloodline, Sami Zayn geniusness, is Bray Wyatt, LA Knight, Alexa Bliss, Uncle Howdy, whatever. So we saw Alexa.
So that was, I will say that was why I cut on Raw.
Sure.
Because before Raw started, it was announced that Bo was backstage and that there was, everybody was kind of curious to see if Uncle Howdy would show up or something would happen. So that was the only reason I tuned in. I tuned in to watch that segment, and I had it play in, and it helped. And we'll talk about this later. It helped that the national championship was not an exciting game as to why I continued to watch Raw.
That's right.
But I don't know. The Uncle Howdy Alexa segment did nothing for me.
I don't think it came across as how they wanted it to. So Alexa gets on the announcer table, cuts her promo. She's definitely almost fully turned. Uncle Howdy makes his, he cuts a promo, makes a.
Is that what you call it?
It's very.
So to me,
it just looks weird.
To me, that was the part that didn't come across very well. Is it seemed like maybe they didn't have his mic on because
they're trying to make it look like he's talking.
He was to me, he was standing there and he was laughing, like he was kind of making that motion, like he was just staring at her laughing. But you couldn't hear, like you could faintly hear some noise, but it wasn't. I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't come across well to me.
It's like they're not in sync. Somebody's not in sync with somebody, and I don't know if they were supposed to hear a laugh, but he's definitely holding his jacket and doing the laughing motion. It just looked awkward. Just looked weird.
Who else stands like that? Like somebody else did that where they were holding their jacket. A wrestler. My mind's gone blank.
Who?
I don't know. Was it Hunter when he would come out as Hunter Hearst Helmsley when he hold his?
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, absolutely.
Uncle Howdy's Triple H.
Well, Triple H, better watch out.
Next thing you know, they're going to introduce Daddy Vince.
Oh man! Speaking of which, so forget everything. Forget everything in professional wrestling right now. It is at a standstill with WWE. I think we are in the midst. We are in the middle of what's going to be the biggest transition in WWE history in our lifetimes. I mean, I think this is gonna be monumental. I think this is gonna be bigger than acquisition of ECW, WCW. I think this is gonna be bigger than the incarnation of AEW. So what we have here, we have we want to say disgruntled former executive chairman, former ex-CEO, left abruptly, and rightfully so, left the company because of his, what's the good word? Ego in his indiscretions. That's the word I'm looking for. His indiscretions with several women that he's paid off, allegedly paid off to a tune of $17-18 million that we know of. He's out of the company, whatever. Leaves the company in co-CEO hands of his daughter, Stephanie McMahon, and the most ruthless, cutthroat agent that I can think of, Nick Khan. So now we have the point where Vince McMahon, and we do have a caller on the line, and
I was going to say, speaking of egomaniacs, this guy can't even let us run the show without him.
Let me finish my thought here before we get to Elliot posting. So we have a point where this man is so gung-ho on being in control, such a power trip, egomaniac, whatever you want to call it. He forces himself back into the company, forces the abrupt resignation of his own daughter, forces out 3 of the board members, forces back in himself and the 2 that were let go. Not to mention one of the board members that was let go was one of the people that were part of the investigation into his indiscretions. So now we have McMahon, that just confirmed tonight by WWE, is back as the executive chairman. That is a confirmed statement. What do you make of this? Elliot, let's start with you. He's not even talking.
Sorry, it keeps cutting in and out here in Florida.
There he is.
It keeps trying to jump on the hotel's Wi-Fi, so let's see, maybe. Anyways,
You can just cut Wi-Fi off.
well, if I cut Wi-Fi off and then walk inside, I have no signal. So,
Oh, Lord.
Well, I hear the weather's nice in Florida.
oh man, it's right now. It's about 60s right now. It was mid 70s during the day. Sunny, not too bad.
All right, so talk to us. Vince McMahon, WWE.
Man, dude, I hope every bit of WWE just tanks. I hope it all tanks. I hope stock depletes $100 a share. I don't care.
They'd be in the negative.
I hate what he did. I think Stephanie stepping down is just proof of either I'd be interested in whether she cashes out some stock to where it is right now. I'd be interested in that, or if I'm interested to see what happens, seeing how she just stepped down, gave her resignation and all that. And
Well, I will say Brian Alvarez just tweeted, quote, "I think monster news is imminent." That was about an hour ago. So, do you think we're in the process of a sale here?
I think so. I mean, especially, man, we found out here recently information on Nick Khan's deal with Vince when he first came on
Yeah.
board, and finding out that his deal was worked to where Vince said, "Hey, make me money. Hey, if you can get this stock up so I can sell, you're going to have a super huge payday."
I can't imagine how many zeros he's got coming.
Hey, well, probably at least 9, right?
Oh, for sure.
So I mean, kudos to Nick Khan. He's done his job, right?
Yeah, that's what he was hired for.
As much as people may hate Vince McMahon and the way he is and what he stands for, kudos to him. But no, man, I was just calling to tell you guys, appreciate y'all holding it down. Awesome job holding it down. I wanted to try and catch a little bit of the show. So,
Well, we appreciate you.
Before I got called an egomaniac by
Handbook.
Johnathan Winburn.
That's all out of love.
Go Jags. That's out of love too. So, nah, man.
Hey, did you see the other big news?
Real quick. No.
Me and Shane will get to it later, but Spencer Rattler announced he's coming back in a fire Twitter video.
Yeah, that's fire.
I know Juice is coming back. I saw that. That's good.
Yep, Rattler announced about an hour ago.
Gamecocks. And I think we all kind of felt that those two were hand in hand. If one was coming back, the other was coming back.
Top 12, here we come.
At least, dude, it's very possible. And Clemson's had several of their D linemen who were expected to go and enter the draft who have come back. So that's good news for them. I'm excited for Clemson and Carolina football next year. It's gonna be a fun year, I think.
Absolutely. I was telling Johnathan, I'm hoping 9 or 10 wins. What I'd like. Definitely possible.
Well, especially going to that 12 team format. Hate that the national championship didn't really. I think the first round. I think most people are looking at that as the national championship game now, because it was probably the better of the 3 games played. But man, poor TCU, they just
So
they got barked at. They got barked at and tucked their tails.
So speaking of that national championship, so was that a display of TCU not being as good as they're made out to be, or Georgia being made out to be as good as they really are?
I think it's a combination of both. David Pilot said it well. Georgia, right now they're the team to take out in college football. They're the team to beat. They're the new pinnacle, right? Kudos to Kirby Smart. He's taken that. He's taken a team that was always good, but they could never make it over that hump, and they could never make it over the SEC championship with Mark Richt. And he's injected an energy and a fire in that team, and where they're just dominant, dude.
I think.
I love Stetson.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it, to Elliot's point about kind of on both ends. I think it leans more in Georgia's favor than TCU's. I think it just shows on both sides of the ball just the speed that Georgia has. They were rolling on offense. TCU didn't know what to do, but they were put in the position by their defense. It kind of got out of hand kind of quick. So I think it's more of, you can have a team that's not quite as fast as another team and still kind of keep up, but when you have a big disparity there, I think it really poses well to Georgia's favor.
I think if anything, TCU getting beat like they did showed even more why we need a 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
The reason I say that is because, you had Ohio State, which was the 4 seed, who lost because of a wide left. Michigan, there were several calls when Michigan played TCU that many pundits were saying, hey, refs completely blew those calls. Michigan should have won that ball game. I think Michigan plays. I think it's a closer game. I don't think Michigan wins. I think Ohio State had the best opportunity to beat Georgia. I believe all of us even may have mentioned that on one of the previous episodes, that was going to be Georgia's hardest test. And if Georgia got by Ohio State, then Georgia will win the national championship.
That's right.
Everybody loves an underdog story, but the reality was TCU won a very, very down conference in the Big 12. Like Oklahoma, Texas moving to SEC. That should tell you something right there about the state of the Big 12 whenever 2 of the biggest schools are saying, "Hey guys, we're out."
Yeah. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, man, while you're on vacation, but let's finish the call with what we were originally talking about, with going back to Nick Khan and WWE.
Yeah, man. Nick's just done his job, man. He's known to be a ruthless agent. He worked out his deal as any agent would. He's like the Drew Rosenhaus of wrestling agents, right?
So, do you think there's already a sale in place?
I think there's already somebody at least top of the list.
This seems to be going really fast. Is the reason I ask.
Well, 3-4 months ago, we were talking on the fact that that Disney was going to buy it.
Yep.
That was the rumor going around, and everybody was like, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. Suddenly, NBC or what's the name of the parent company?
Comcast.
Comcast, Disney. Who do you know? And a Saudi company are the 3 leads to buy, and it's like, well, hello, who's been the main company we've all been saying the whole time.
And I really,
Like, no, they're not doing it.
I really think people are sleeping on the Saudis, man. My concern is what happens to WWE if it was sold to the Saudis, right? From a viewership standpoint, that's my big question. But I think people are underestimating how much money the Saudis have, and what they're willing to pay, because there is no amount they're not willing to pay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last
That's
show
the
they
thing.
said made more than all the WrestleManias combined or something.
Yes. So I swear, man, like if you do have Comcast or Netflix or Disney that's willing to pay $6 to $8 to $10 billion for WWE and its IP in its entirety, you don't think the Saudis would laugh at that and be like, well, I got 15 billion right here.
But let me ask, so
That's
we
what
all,
I'm concerned.
we all know that Vince, we've all talked about Vince being petty and ego driven.
Certainly.
But if you think that there's, as far as TV rights are concerned, and like what's next for WWE after the sale, if the Saudi company buys it, like let's say they buy it and they don't get a TV deal in the US or something like that, do you think Vince is going to sell? I mean, yes, he may stand to make a ton of money, but do you think he sells knowing that
His product wouldn't be
the
seen?
product would suffer afterwards?
He wouldn't care.
You think so?
I don't think he'd care. I think
I'm not on that. I'm not on that.
I think
that
because of these investigations and he knows the end result, I think he's beyond the point of caring. If these investigations weren't a thing, go ahead, Elliot.
No, I was just gonna say, I think he's such an egomaniac that even knowing the results of these investigations, he's still, yeah, I'm not doing that.
The majority of my thoughts lean towards that he wouldn't let that happen, that he's still going to want to see the company succeed. I mean, when you take a company from where it was at back in the territory days to where it's at now, I mean, that's still his baby, whether he's there or not. He's not going to want it to go downhill. But the ego part could lead to him saying, well, let me sell it. If they're not going to get the TV rights with, a Saudi company as the backer, let me sell it to them. Let me watch it go downhill, so then people really know my value. Like I was the one that made WWE, kind of thing. But that would be my only thought. I don't think that he would let it go, that he would want it to go downhill. I think it's still where he wants to be, or like his company, that he's still going to feel like it's his no matter where it's at.
Yeah. Well, only time will tell. Elliot, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule.
Yeah, man.
Enjoy your time, enjoy your cruise, enjoy your family, and we shall see you next week.
We'll do it, guys. Keep it popping.
And you're not such an egomaniac. That was just a joke, but
Not quite Vince, but yeah, man, I don't know, man. The whole thing with WWE, this whole sale process, man, it's got me. It's just weird, man. A lot of people are saying their eyes are on Stephanie's potential stock sale, but my eyes are on Hunter.
but
I'm watching what Triple H is about to do.
So I know we're all this is all happening really fast, and we all kind of have our thoughts, but I mean, we all agree that Vince shouldn't be back in power from a sticking around standpoint, correct?
From a public relations standpoint, he needs to be nowhere near the company.
Right, I agree.
From a sales standpoint, I do agree with him.
But that's what I'm saying. If the plan has been in place for months, or the thought has been in place and it's coming up, and they know, I mean, like I said, it's happening. Everything's happening really, really, really fast. So you don't think that there was maybe word that like, hey, like he's got to come back, because the only way that we're able to sell is him coming back. But like, we're going to bring him back at the very last minute just to push this through. And that's it. I mean, this is all that he's here for.
It's just so crazy, man.
Because I agree, the longer he sticks around, the worse it is for stock and the company as a whole. But if he's just there just to sign off on the paperwork that the sale is approved as majority stakeholder, I mean, he's got to come back at some point for that, right?
Yeah. I'm reading Raj Giri at the Raj Giri said 2 hours ago, I've asked around, and Paul Triple H Levesque is in firmly as chief content officer. Literally 40 minutes later. You know the tweet I sent out 2 hours ago? I heard this from some higher ups in WWE, and maybe not. Bro, I'm getting chills here because this is all ridiculously fast. And this is a rapid process. They have somebody. They have to. If they're moving these parts around, these valuable, incomparable pieces to the puzzle in WWE, and they're moving them that quickly, getting them out of the roles. You only get people out of roles if the impending owner doesn't want them there.
What if the name on the contract does say McMahon?
Oh God, I thought you were going to say Khan, Tony Khan.
No, McMahon.
Yeah,
but it's Shane.
No, he's gone. Anybody McMahon, anybody with the name McMahon is gone. That's my understanding. That is how
you think if they do sell that Triple H is gone?
Gone.
You think so?
Gone.
As
I'm calling it now.
The head of creative, he's gone.
Gone. I'm telling you, whoever takes control of this company is going to want to put their people into place, the people that they believe is going to take it to the next level.
What about Freddie Prinze?
No.
I mean, he's been pretty active lately.
This is crazy, man. I don't know. I don't even know what to even. It's like, what is even happening? I mean, it's unprecedented, and don't get me wrong, I love it. Right? I love the drama. I love the pot stirring. But for this conversation being had this quickly, man, just the possibilities are endless. I messaged a buddy of mine, Redbeard, Robert Truesdale, South Carolina, well-known wrestling enthusiast, avid Disney traveler, Disney lover. But I said, man, can you imagine if Disney ended up with WWE? He goes, oh, great. Mickey McMahon. I'm like, oh, God. Just the thought.
It is crazy. I just who would you want to buy WWE? Like, who would be? I mean, not who you think's going to end up with it. Who do you think would bode well for the best product?
Oh, so you changed it at the last second there. First, you're like, who would you want to buy WWE? And then you go,
well, you should want the best product.
No. I want the best storyteller. The best story would be if Tony Khan wound up owning this company. That would be the best story, right? Think about it. The guy who wasn't taken serious from the beginning, crapped on by WWE.
If that happens,
oh my God, wrestling is great again, because just imagine the WWE diehards reaction. That's what I'm imagining. Just like these WWE people just like falling out, just like their world just ended. What were you gonna say?
If Tony does it,
I don't think that would be the best purchaser.
I don't think Tony's going to buy it. But if Tony does it, Tony has to have Ted Turner come out.
Oh my God!
And reveal that he's been working behind the scenes.
It took 20-something years. Oh, how old is Ted Turner now?
84.
Oh, is he still alive?
That's why I looked it up before I said it, because I didn't want to be wrong. He is.
Okay. Wheel him on out. Let's go.
Well, Vincey.
Oh, man. But, it's just one of those things.
But go real quick, going back to Raw. So I said the Alexa Uncle Howdy thing didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know it's probably without a doubt Bo, but the rumors that Bo was backstage and how sure everybody was that he was going to be Uncle Howdy, even before now, but the fact that he was there, I'm like almost leads me to believe that they might pull a bait and switch. Like they may purposely have leaked that to try to like keep everybody on that track, have him show up. Oh, it's Bo, and then it end up being somebody else. Was kind of the vibe I was getting from Raw.
Or did they not purposely leak it? Did it actually leak? And they're like, you know what? Screw these people, these marks. You know, they're gonna change it.
Somebody said that they see Bray versus Uncle Howdy at WrestleMania. I'm like, we ain't even have really had Bray fight one televised match yet, and now we're talking about yeah. So I mean, I don't know. My other takeaway is I can't wait for Cody Rhodes to come back. Like they haven't really even done anything but just show a couple of video packages.
You know, you just don't.
But
it speaks to Cody's value for a certain product, right? Like I didn't realize, like when he left the AEW's gone to hell. I'm sorry, in every way, shape, and form, and that hurts me to say that, because I love AEW, right? So Cody getting hurt in WWE really, you know, when he's not on the product, not on the TV set, you just realize how valuable he is, man, and how much he is truly missed. His storytelling, the gimmick, he was on fire, man. He's about to blow up, I think. You know, it's a shame what happened, but you know, we're closer to his. I think it's inevitable here at the Royal Rumble coming up. I definitely think he's there at some point.
So do you think, or so say he's in the Rumble,
Number 27.
You see, I lean more towards the beginning. I think he comes back early in the Rumble, 1 or 2. I mean, first 5, last the whole way through the Rumble. If The Rock shows up, The Rock's the one that wins it.
You imagine that Rock versus Cody sterile?
If the Rock doesn't show up, then Cody wins the whole thing.
Okay,
but I think he's there based on the package they showed.
He's on the flyer.
He is on the flyer. So the package they showed was like him questioning himself, like, "Hey, I've been out for so long. This is the first major injury I've ever had.
Right?
Can I still go?" And it kind of shows him like getting in at the Nightmare Factory, like getting in the ring, and then that's when it fades out. But the way his wording was, it just led me to believe, okay, he's going to come back early in the Rumble and he's going to last 60 minutes.
I mean, it's the Flair thing, right? The Flair story, right?
Yeah. Speaking of Flair, did you see the latest news on him?
That he wants another match.
Yeah, he said him and Triple H made up that he was gonna be at Mania.
Oh, not
I don't know.
Not if Triple H ain't at Mania.
Not wrestling, I don't think. But he was
God.
just saying like he made up. He was like, I made up with Hunter. Yeah, I should be at Mania, or I'm gonna be there.
Breaking news, guys. Our phones are pinging left and right here, y'all. Just because of the news and you know what's going on in WWE's realm. But Cassidy Haynes, a body slam. If this is quote, if what I just heard is true, holy end quote. Something's gone down. What in the? Okay, that was not creepy. Amazon's always listening. So once again, Cassidy Haynes, a body slam, just said just 4 minutes ago, if what he heard is true, holy end quote. This is it just stops us, man, because like I don't even know what's about to happen or what's happened. So
it does, but I laugh because this comment said we have now shifted from big news is incoming. I just don't know what to. If what I heard is true, wow. Stage of wrestling reporting, meaning the actual story is breaking within 48 hours, or only breaking 48 hours away.
Yeah. All right. So, seeing that, what do you think we got, Jonathan? Just what's your gut tell you? That this is the biggest story in pro wrestling, I think. Since what? It's got to be since the acquisition, 20-something years. This is huge. Elliot, I'm wondering. They have a buyer. I'm telling you.
So you said Tony would make the biggest story, but who would be the best for the product?
One of the networks.
Not one. Which one?
The one with who's more viewers. I would think Fox, honestly, because look what SmackDown's doing. But I think audience wise, what they're wanting for their audience is going to be Comcast.
Well, let me I guess put this. So like right now, so NBC owns USA.
Yes.
Or NBC Universal owns USA.
Male dominated.
Comcast or whatever, but they also own NBC. So you think like from a TV rights deal. So obviously they're negotiating with WWE currently. SmackDown is on Fox, but if Comcast, if the cable company buys the product, you don't think that they put it on NBC?
They might. I can't speak for them. I don't know what we are in such like unforeseen, unheard of time. I don't even know what to expect right now. Anyhow, it's exciting.
It is exciting.
But we shall see. But so yeah, back to the Uncle Howdy thing. I do believe what you're saying is true. I firmly believe it was intended to be Bo. It was Bo. I think it got out. I think they're doing a poll, a complete 180, just to fool the marks. Who could it be? No idea. I'm just excited for Bo to be back into WWE. Bo Dallas, Taylor Rotunda, I think is one of the most gifted, underrated professional wrestling talents there is. He looks incredible. If you've seen his most recent look, he's in great shape. I'm excited. I'm wondering if we end up going like like the Undertaker Kane route at some point, where they feud, which I think it would be money. Mercedes Monet. I'm excited. But what you got?
So I mean, there's a lot of WWE stuff to talk about, but you asked me earlier, we were talking about Mercedes and you were asking about the New Japan stuff. So I want to get your takeaways to the Kenny Ospreay match.
Yes. Okay. So, is that a demotion, Elliot? Is that what they're saying? Ospreay Omega. A lot of takeaways here. I think number one takeaway here is Kenny Omega in Japan is untouchable. That's number one. First and foremost, let's get that out of the way. All the Kenny Omega haters can just shut up right now, right?
So
hang on.
This is to that point.
I'm going to forget everything I was going to say. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Yeah, you see, you know I'm going to forget it. But Kenny Omega in Japan is way different than what you see on American TV, American network television. Kenny Omega.
I agree.
Kenny Omega just looked comfortable. He looked confident. He was doing things he doesn't do on American TV. He was a complete different persona. He wasn't goofy. He wasn't animated. He was serious. He knew he was going into a battle. He knew he was going to wrestle one of the best, if not the best, professional wrestler in the world, in Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay brings the best out of Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega brings the best out of Will Ospreay, so and so on. And these two, and Will Ospreay's selling on the other side of the token, right? Because I mean, you can have a guy that does all the moves, whatever, right? But if you don't have the other guy, the other person making those moves look good, you have nothing. So Will Ospreay is just as important, if not more important to the equation than Kenny Omega. I think what we saw was 40 to 45 minute. I'm not even going to use the term spot fest because it wasn't a spot fest. This was not. I see all these people talking their trash, looking at the minute and a half, 75, 90-second clips or 2-minute clips of the highlights of the match. And they're like, oh, this is spot fest. Well, it's very easy. Any match you see in a 2-minute clip is a spot fest, right? Because they want to highlight the best parts of the match. If you go back and watch this match in its entirety, it was a thing of beauty. It was stunning. The storytelling was impeccable. The entrances were unbelievable. I loved it in every way, shape, and form. Match of the year. I don't think anything's going to touch it. And it's only January 10th. So that's my take from it. I think I'm glad you got to witness it, right? Because now you get to see why I am a Kenny Omega fan. That it was exactly why I'm a Kenny Omega fan. Not this, the elite, horrible scripting, writing that you see going on in AEW right now. This was the Kenny Omega I fell in love with years ago. This is the Kenny Omega that I think is the best wrestler in the world. And that's my opinion. But go ahead.
So I am a Kenny hater.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of Kenny. It was a really good match, and I do agree to your standpoint that he did look more at home and more comfortable. I mean, even before the match started, just walking out, like it just looked like that's where he was supposed to be. Or meant, the atmosphere, everything. I mean, it was a more serious Kenny than I've seen. So I don't know if that's a New Japan thing, because I know that, I mean, some of the crazy stuff I've seen with Kenny has been in Japan. So I don't know if it's the seriousness is from Japan or if it was just the moment that he was in with Ospreay. But it was definitely a heck of a match. Not enough to make me a Kenny fan, because it's just one match. But I did enjoy it, and I am glad I got to witness it live.
It was unbelievable, man.
There was a couple spots. Just a couple spots where I was legit worried for both people.
Somebody's hurt.
The DDT on the turnbuckle was felt like JR. My God, he killed him.
Yeah, that's just something you don't see, right? And it just goes to show you the amount of trust they have for one another. They trust each other and with their life.
And all kudos and props to Ospreay as well. They carried each other.
Unbelievable, man. So now it's interesting. So now we come to the point where,
in a storytelling aspect. Yeah.
So now you have Kenny Omega as the IWGP United States champion, right? One of the most beautiful belts in professional wrestling. Side note there, cheap plug there for that belt. I think that belt is stunning. It looks prestigious. We're going to see that on American TV, which is huge.
That has been on TV.
Yeah, but anytime you get that IWGP, either it'll be the World Heavyweight or the United States Championship on mainstream TV in the States, it's always a big deal. I'm excited, so I'm just looking forward to see, what he does next. What kind of, obviously he's not done in Japan, right? So it also goes to show you the depths of the relationship between New Japan and AEW, which I think is huge, right? New Japan's not going to allow AEW star to carry their strap if the relationship's not built on a strong foundation. So that's exciting. Elliot, I did hear that too. Switchblade Jay White to either All Elite Wrestling or WWE.
Rumors about him and WWE having interest in Tama Tonga as well.
Let me tell you, I'm going to go out on a limb right here, right now. There ain't nobody going to WWE right now.
So
no way.
When you sent the article, I was on my way here, and you sent the article about Vince and Stephanie stepping down. That was my first thought. I was like, anybody right now? I mean, I get it. There's still WWE, and they're still the pinnacle of sports entertainment.
Pinnacle.
But I don't know if I could do it. Like, with everything going on, like, if you were a free agent, I would just.
You see Trouble in Paradise?
I would take independent bookings for a little while just to see where things lead to.
Absolutely.
Unless you're just trying to get a payday and that's where they're offering you, because I just don't.
There's no way.
There's too much unknown. Like, you wouldn't, I mean, as somebody coming in, you would have no idea where they were going from there.
But now there's another thing here. Like Triple H is obviously out, right? Is what Elliot was saying here in the chat. In his role, he's chief content officer now. So he got demoted to Joey Styles. What do you say? Chief content officer. That's Joey Styles' role there, where he's handling the social media, posted pictures. Like, what's he doing? So, like, if you have that, but now you have all this talent, right, in this certain demographic, in this age group that do not like Vince McMahon, and they see him back on the board, they sure as heck ain't going to WWE. No way. No.
Real quick laugh because Elliot said MJF in the chat. I did like his post on Twitter when the first list came out about WWE selling. It was like Comcast, Disney, Universal. He like retweeted it and he was like, have I mentioned how much I love? And he like listed all the companies, Comcast, Disney.
He's hilarious. He didn't mention the Saudis. He did not mention the Saudis.
But my thing with this whole sale thing from a wrestler aspect is, you know how many, like going back and watching documentaries and all this stuff about history, all the WCW people all talked about how much the company was a disaster behind the scenes when people that didn't understand the wrestling business came in and started taking over. And that's when Bischoff came in and things turned, like the tide started turning back. So if a company purchases it and doesn't put somebody in the power that comes from the wrestling business and is just strictly business related, like that's when you got to worry about the product.
No, I agree. It's just one of those things, man, where like, oh my gosh, man, what is about to what are we about to bear witness to? Because I'm just blown away. Disney buys WWE, makes Triple H CEO. That would be hilarious. I'm not going to shut it down.
I was like, you never know. And then Elliot touched on the Jay White thing. I think that's some big news coming out of Wrestle Kingdom. But I want to touch base real quick before we switch out of talking about wrestling, just to talk about Dynamite last week and then Dynamite this week, because it was a big show last week and even bigger show this week coming up.
Walk us through it.
So last week I'm not gonna go down the whole card, but I just want to get your take on a few things. The Jericho Starks match from last week. We talked about, with Jericho put over Starks. Starks did get the pinfall, and he looked like a star, but then you had him get beat down and stuff afterwards.
Well, I love Ricky Starks, man. It was exactly what we thought it would be. I'm definitely glad with the result. I think Jericho put Ricky Starks in a position to go to that next level, right? Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens here. What would you?
I'm curious to see where they go.
That's
here.
what I'm meaning.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's really like Starks versus JS. That's one versus Mini.
Yeah. So, is he going to build up?
Unless you're going to get a ragtag group of opponents like the JS had at the show this past weekend. You shared it to me where they showed up. Was it PWG?
Oh, Pro Wrestling Gorilla. Oh, you're talking about the Bola.
It was like Evil Uno. I mean, it was just like I saw the picture and it just looked like 5 random opponents.
Yeah, I'm seeing them show up in Los Angeles was unbelievable. But it just goes to show you that I honestly think Chris Jericho's number one focus right now is to lift up and build the next generation. I absolutely loved it.
Then you had let me tell you, so I posted in the chat when we were watching this. I was watching Dynamite, and you had the Acclaim versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. And Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal actually won the match at one point, and I about lost it.
Yeah, I was hearing about that.
So they won. It was
your reaction, I mean.
Yeah. Then Aubrey came out and was like, no, if it was on he had his foot on the rope, and then they knocked it off. Outside interference knocked it off, and then Aubrey came out and restarted the match, and they claimed win. But I was like, I know they're not putting the belt on Jarrett a month after he showed up in the company.
He's Brock Lesnar.
I was hot, but funny thing, did you catch the match at all?
Mm-mm.
So with all this Acclaim talking about Karen and Kurt Angle,
yeah,
Jeff Jarrett used the ankle lock in the match.
Oh my God.
And Taz said, cross the line.
Unbelievable. So you think that thing's a work
No.
between the Jarretts and Karen
No.
and Angle?
No.
Or you just think that was a dick move that he just wanted to flip the bird to him?
Yeah. I think he was just playing a heel, but I think the situation is serious.
I think Jarrett's hilarious, bro. And I know you cringe every time you hear that music hit. Every time.
I can't stand him.
I know. Who do you hate worse, him or Lesnar?
That's a good.
This or that.
We didn't do that, but Frank Jarrett.
You hate him more?
Yeah.
What did he ever do to you? What did he ever win?
Everything when he was president of TNA.
Global Force.
I mean, Brock's pretty. I mean, who
Brock
knows?
wins
Who
everything.
knows? Vince might sell WWE to Brock Lesnar.
Stop. Just stop it. Stop it.
It could happen.
Oh. Jeff Jarrett. I like Jarrett, man. I don't think he's the greatest worker in the world. But I just think he's I do think he's comes from that line of like a Dusty era and that the NWA stuff, and I think Jarrett's very knowledgeable. I think he brings a lot to the table, but I wish he'd get off my television set.
No, I agree with that. I think he's been raised in the business, so I think he has a lot of knowledge, and kind of in that same boat Cody is and anybody else that's kind of been around the business that long.
Papa Bear says he can't imagine what would happen if Lesnar was in charge. I can tell you, he'd win everything. He'd be the first ever WWE United States Intercontinental Tag Women's Champion. I don't know. He'd have everything. I'm being facetious.
Get rid of all the belts and just have one Universal Champion.
I have to acknowledge him.
In the main event, you had a Darby versus Samoa Joe.
Oh, in his hometown. They were in Seattle.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Samoa Joe. Elliot posted.
Galactic champion.
Samoa Joe did exactly what he needed to do. We are witnessing the next generation. Darby Allin looks like $1 million. Love the finish, the build, that coffin drop for the pin. In his hometown of Seattle, seeing Darby win the TNT Championship was amazing. Well deserved.
So I think you or Elliot one in the chat posted it, and I was like, I definitely could have saw it happen. So like Sting picked up Darby, hugged him after the match.
Drop him, Sting.
It was set up so perfectly for him to just lay him out, and it would have.
What are they afraid of?
The crowd would have went nuts.
They're afraid
because they were in Darby's hometown.
Oh,
and it would have sucked all the air out of that.
Sting would have became the biggest heel in AEW right then.
Right, but
immediately,
like watching it back, I could visualize it happening, and I was like, man, it would have been a perfect opportunity.
It would have been beautiful. I've been saying it for 7 months.
I don't think
they're never gonna do it.
Yeah, he doesn't have much longer left. I'm about to tip to your note just saying that, but as much as he's around, he's not gonna. I don't think he'll be a heel. If anybody turns, Darby will be the one to turn on him. But
I think something happened, man. I think something happened with Sting.
But they're also Sting, Darby, and Muta are all fighting together at Muta's last match, which is in like 2 weeks. So this last week would not have been the week for them to turn Sting on Darby with that like already being announced. So
sure.
That was
I think and tag matches, especially 6-man. It's a 6-man tag, right?
Yes.
So a 6-man tag. That's to really protect Sting. I think something happened with Sting. I don't know what, but he hasn't been the same.
So he had
that we don't like. I know he had surgery.
Yeah, and they said he was. I mean, he wrestled like that. The match that he had at the last the last match he had. I mean, it was like not too long after the surgery. Like I think he's still healing.
I think it's worse. I just think it's worse than what they're telling us. I think he's in worse shape. I mean, the guy's what, 64, 65? I mean, he's done his man. He's done his
I
dues.
just don't want him to leave.
It's still real to me. Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
So this week's
the card.
yeah, just so what's announced so far. So big week. They're in Los Angeles. I mean, they're heavily advertising the show.
Okay.
So you got Jungle Hook, which Elliot shouted out earlier.
Don't even get me started on the childish name. I hate it.
Versus Big Bill and Lee Moriarty.
Okay.
Tag match there.
Hook's undefeated, so that team's gonna win. Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Moriarty takes a pin.
It'll be curious. Yeah, I was gonna say it's a curious booking on that one, like how they get there. Big storyline is that Hangman wasn't cleared last week, but if everything went right, he would get cleared. We know he's going to be cleared. Moxley versus Hangman.
Okay, haven't seen that before.
We'll hear from the Jericho Appreciation Society
Every week.
Brian Danielson versus Takashita.
Take a shooter.
Explicit.
Oh, sorry. It's how
That's
it's
what
spelled.
I got to do after the show.
It's how it's spelled.
Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker versus Saraya and Tony Storm.
There comes Monet.
I hope so, because if
That's
that's
definitely
the
the
match
route.
that they've been building for, like I'm not interested. I like Tony Storm, but Takeshita. And then, of course, the main event, Death Triangle versus the Elite in a ladder match.
Whichever.
Well,
Escalera de la
yeah.
Muerte. I think, what's that? Death ladder match. Ladder of death. I think, everybody's so big on the Elite winning this, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if they don't? I think that would surprise. That would take everybody by surprise. I think everybody's anticipating the Elite to become the new, tag team champions. But I don't think. Do they have what it takes to? No.
Who?
The Elite.
Yeah, I mean, so Elliot brought up a point a couple weeks ago about he thinks that the Elite should win, or he sees the Elite winning, and then it would be a smart move to have a House of Black come in and lay them out. And I was like, if the Elite were going to win, that would be the route I would go, or a route I would go. But then House of Black cut this promo on Eddie Kingston this week that made it seem like they were focused their storylines going somewhere else. But what if, win or lose, whether they cost the match or they win and they lay them out afterwards? What if
No. Stop.
Punk and FTR come out?
Well, you added FTR in there. That'd be interesting. I don't know, man. It just seems so quick. Seems so soon. I don't know. He's not healed.
How do we know? How do you know he's not healed? How long has it been?
How long has it been?
September.
4 months?
I mean, do we really know that?
He was in the gym on Instagram.
Do we
I didn't
know
see
the
it.
full extent of the injury? I mean, it was reported that he was injured, but more people were talking about what happened at the media scrum than what was actually going on.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. He just posted on Instagram. He's already working. I don't know. I think Punk and FTR is inevitable somewhere.
I mean, even if you weren't gonna do,
That's what they reported, a high ankle sprain?
I thought it was something with his shoulder.
Oh, I was like, Elliot. Geez, I was like, wait a minute. That don't
He's back.
sound. Well, I'm like, wait, I'm changing everything now. Wait a minute. Ellie's like, no, Shane, no. Feed
I'm
me
just
bad
trying to
info.
think even if they wouldn't. I don't think they would do it unless things had worked out with Punk. But what if it's somebody else that comes out, costs them the match? Like Punk's music hits, Punk doesn't come out. They lose the match because they're distracted, but then it ends up not being Punk. Like it was somebody playing mind games on the Elite. Adam Cole,
Baby. He ain't been nowhere. He ain't.
Aldis. I mean, I don't think that fits his.
All these people that were reported to be going to WWE, they're not. It's gonna, I don't know, man. This is crazy. It just blows my mind because it just goes to show ain't nobody going to WWE right now. No way.
Switchblade.
Could be. And that's another thing too, man. What about all these people that they brought back?
Elliot said that Kyle O'Reilly's about to be back. I read somewhere, I think today or yesterday, that he actually had some post-surgery issues that might delay his return. I don't know if it was accurate or not, but well, guys, Shane's been about to die over here.
I'm dying, bro.
To get to a break, so
dying.
We're gonna take a break, I think, and hear from one of our sponsors, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, well, guys, just give us 30 seconds. We'll be right back with you after you hear from one of our sponsors. Guys, this podcast is brought to you by Day Soul Coffee Lab out of Birmingham, Alabama. Guys, if you know Elliot Popston, he's in Florida right now, but he considers himself the biggest coffee connoisseur, and he swears by Day Soul Coffee Lab being the best coffee that he's ever had. So don't just take his word for it. Go on to daysoulcoffeelab.co. Check it out for yourself. Use the promo code LOWDOWN. Get 10% off your order. They will ship directly to your house. That is Day Soul Coffee Lab out of Birmingham, Alabama. He says it's the best coffee. You might as well give it a try for yourself. All right, we'll be back.
And that promo code, by the way, did you say the promo code?
Lowdown. 10% off. I believe I said that. I'll say it again. daysoulcoffeelab.co. Use the promo code LOWDOWN for 10% off your order. I don't know what that sound was. You know, Elliot's in Florida having an aneurysm. Guys, that's the wrong sound. That's all
Shane
right.
hit the button immediately, looked at me like, whoops, that wasn't the right one.
But I wasn't going to turn it off because it sounded so good. Anyway.
So, question for you.
Answer.
I'm not really much of a coffee connoisseur, but
Elliot is.
I know Elliot is. But you know what I would much rather be a connoisseur of?
What's that?
Liquor.
Guys, for those that don't follow the show, this is the section of the show where we do Spirits with Shane. This is, so every week I make our fellow co-host a concoction. I tell you, the listeners, what it is. We shoot it, and then we go back into the regular programming. So today is called Funky Like a Monkey, baby. That was my imitation of Dusty Rhodes. Funky Like a Monkey. So this is a shot of rum cream mixed with a shot of banana rum cream mixed with a little 0-cal, no sugar vanilla sweetener and a touch of grenadine on top. That's all it is, Johnathan. You've been if y'all could see Jonathan's face, he's been staring at it for since we started the show.
So
because it's sitting here.
It's sitting here, and it's Shane says it's layered. It's definitely not layered. I can't see no red at the bottom, but it looks chunky, and it
funky like a monkey, baby.
He's been talking about all the sickness going around. It looks like somebody puked in the shot glass.
You are a dick. I went through a lot of work with this drink.
I'm just telling you what it looks like. But another peek behind the curtain real quick. So we are an hour and 15 minutes into the show. And for the last 30 minutes, Shane's been like, can we get to the coffee read? Can we get to the coffee read? Because he has been about to die to take the shot.
How'd you know? She's sitting there. It's like, looks so sad. Anyway, guys, we are going to shoot this, and then we're going to go into our next segment. Here we
I
go.
don't know if I'm shooting anything.
You are funky like a monkey. It's going to be good, bro.
I had an up choke.
It is really good. So, John, I'm waiting on Johnathan to take his. You can, sir. What are you doing? You washing your palate?
Getting prepared. I didn't like that way that sounded.
You're gonna love it. I promise you. It's very good and smooth. Funky like a monkey. How is it?
Better than I thought it was going to
There
be.
you go. Where are we at, Jonathan?
Not my. I mean, I don't know. I was going to say not my choice, but
Good aftertaste.
yeah.
So now we're gonna go into a little bit of this or that, right? That's what we got.
We talked. We're supposed to do all that in the wrestling segment.
What, this or that?
Yeah, that's part of segment 1.
Oh, so we're gonna skip this or that.
We'll skip it this week.
Okay, that's
For sake of
well,
time.
and I think we should skip it there because Elliot loves being a part of that. There's just something about him and the 3 opinions.
This is the segment that we do IMDb ratings.
Ah, all right. For those that are listening or going to be listening, this is IMDb. So I do consider myself somewhat
A movie connoisseur.
a movie connoisseur. I do love movies. It's one of my favorite things, one of my favorite pastimes. IMDb, aka the Internet Movie Database, has a rating 0 to 10 based on user reviews, in tenth of a point increments, and I try to get it within 0.5. So, Johnathan gives me a movie. I talk about it. Hopefully, prayerfully, in a perfect world, I've seen it, and I can rate it effortlessly. So, here we are. IMDb. Johnathan, hit me with it.
I'm going way back.
Oh, Jesus, I haven't seen it.
I have a feeling you have, but let's see.
He's going to embarrass me on air.
Super Mario Brothers.
The 90s?
Yeah.
Oh, that was awful. That was with Cheech or Chong, right? Yeah, 4.8.
It was definitely not Cheech or Chong.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Somebody named Cheech or Chong was in that movie.
It was Bob Hoskins and
Cheech or Chong was in one of the other Super Mario movies. John Leguizamo?
yeah, it was Luigi.
Horrible. I 4.8. I thought it was cheesy. Again, it's 90s cheese, right? But it was just awful. No production value. No, just horrible. I think it was horribly done. Now, leads me to believe that it leads me to look forward to what's coming for Super Mario. I think that's going to be phenomenal.
Speaking of which,
Go ahead.
I know that we've watched the first trailer together we've both seen the first trailer. Have you seen the newest trailer where it shows Donkey Kong and it's full of nothing but Easter eggs, like Mario Kart, all that stuff.
Yeah, Rainbow
it
Bridge.
Looks fantastic. It
Yes.
looks exactly what it needs to be.
Exactly, which I think is going to be great. I think I'm going to put that movie on the upcoming Super Mario's movie. I think I'm going to put it on the level of Detective Pikachu. I think it's going to be very comparable as far as quality.
I think it'll be better.
Which Detective Pikachu is amazing. I don't think that was a bad movie. But yeah, let's go back to the movie you said, Super Mario Brothers 90s. I would say 4.8.
So I purposely chose this one because I knew it was probably going to be bad. I wanted to see if how close you would be on a movie that wasn't high up. Usually we're
Well, that's a pretty bad rating. So
4.1.
dang, I still missed it though.
You
But I still got closer than you think.
Yeah, you still missed it, but
Point-
I was surprised. I was like 4.1. That's
0.7.
It's worse than Ready to Rumble,
Oh,
I think.
0.7. I'll take that though, because that movie was horrible, absolutely horrible. Next,
The Conjuring.
7.2. Absolutely amazing universe. With Conjuring and the Curse of La Llorona and what am I missing? Annabelle and how they tie it all together. I think it's that the original Conjuring is scary as crap. Definitely a solid 7.2. Acting is incredible. The story's even better. And I think they've only just scratch the surface of what they're going to end up doing with it. Yeah, I just think you know a movie's super successful when you're able to do so many different spinoffs and so many different stories from the same original movie, right? And not just spinoffs, but being able to go backwards and forwards with it, right? In a time, in a chronological standpoint. But yeah, I think I'm undershooting it at 7.2. I think it's gonna be higher, but I'm trying to be somewhat realistic. But yeah, I'm gonna say 7.2.
7.5.
Boom.
So you were within 5, and you were right. It was a little higher.
Yeah, so that makes up a little ground for my awful performance for the last 2 weeks. I said it makes up a little bit of ground. Yeah, if you haven't seen The Conjuring, I do want to go watch it in chronological order because I saw that post on Facebook the other day where it depicts how to watch it in like by year rather than by release. And I actually watched all the Marvel movies in that way too, and I thought it was incredible. Definitely, when you can tie it all together like that, I think it's incredible. But yeah, Conjuring's definitely one you got to see. Speaking of horror movies, though, did you watch the trailer of that Evil Dead movie I sent you?
I did. I need to rewatch it because I was also in the middle of doing something while I had it playing, so I was listening to it and wasn't getting the full visual. But
I asked Elliot. We were riding, and I said, Elliot, did you watch that trailer I sent you? He's like, yeah, the first 10 seconds. Shut it off. It's disturbing.
I could see that.
It was disturbing. It was a very disturbing trailer. But the Evil Dead movie back in 2015 was amazing. Was it just called The Evil Dead?
Never seen it.
What?
Never seen it.
Might watch. Do you like horror movies?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you liked them or you just
My take on horror movies. So as a kid,
did you watch Hereditary?
yes,
What did you think of that one?
it was good.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
So my take on horror movies, I didn't really watch horror movies as a kid. I mean, I'm the oldest out of all my siblings, my cousin. So like, I didn't have anybody really. I didn't grow up with anybody older than me to kind of,
Shield you?
no, what like. That's not the word I'm looking for. Like open, kind of dabble in. Like it wasn't like I had older siblings where I would sneak in there and watch it, or they would, try to have me around. So I didn't really watch horror movies growing up. I think one of the first ones I watched, I remember 2 scenes. I remember waking up one day at my dad's house and sneaking in, and they were watching. I was already in bed, so they were watching a horror movie, and it was called The Dentist.
Sounds like cheese.
It probably is. I mean, it was early 90s, middle 90s. I just remember peeking my head around the corner, and about that time, this lady had like this device in her mouth, and he was tightening it, and like all her teeth popped out, and I was traumatized. I went running back to the bed. Was like, nope, sorry, won't get up anymore. I mean, they never even knew I got up. They still might not know. But that one scene has stuck with me my whole life. Second one would have been the first movie I tried to watch was Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I did it.
The original in the 70s?
Yeah.
Okay.
I watched parts of it, like a day or a couple of days before we went to go to the haunted house, and we legit got lost. I was with an older friend, and like we legit got lost, and we pulled into this cornfield, and you couldn't see in any direction, and I didn't even go. We got to the haunted house. I didn't go in. I was already too scared. I was like, I'm done. I'm traumatized. I'm done for the whole night. But now I love scary movies. I want them to scare me more. Like I want to not be able to go to sleep at night and stuff. And I don't really get that vibe from horror movies. So I enjoy watching them because I always go into it wanting it to be super scary. Most of the time I'm disappointed. Like it might be a good movie, but I'm disappointed because it doesn't, like I don't have that adrenaline. I'm not gonna be able to sleep at night. But a few have made me feel that way.
Hereditary was one for me.
The last one that I watched that made me feel that way was Insidious, the first one.
Oh, the red and black face. Bro,
I was scared to get up. We watched it and it went off. I was laying in the bed and I was scared to get up to cut the lights on. I was like, I'm just gonna stay here.
I ever tell you what my wife during that movie? Well, we watched that movie and we got this. we got to sleep. And it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. She sits up in the bed. Okay. I'm laying on my right side, so I'm facing her. I watch her. Like, for some reason, I'm awake. For some reason. It's one of those things you're just awake. And I watch her sit up in her sleep, point to the corner of the ceiling where the ceiling meets the wall. And she looked at me and said, I see him. His face. I about, woke her up.
Dana Whiter.
Yeah, twice. Poor Dana White. But that was scary.
That sounds terrifying.
And she hasn't, to this day, watched a movie about possession or demonic spirits or anything like that. This has been years. She has not one time watched a movie like that.
So another movie that has that, and it wasn't the movie itself. The movie itself, I mean, it's kind of cheesy. I mean, it is what it is, but it wasn't intentionally thought out this way, but it ended up working out fantastic. Because I said, I want the movie to scare me. I mean, that's why you watch scary movies, is to get that rush and adrenaline. So a couple years ago, hurricane was getting ready to come through, and I was like, all right, let's prepare. My wife had her laptop. We made sure it was charged, and I was like, let's just make sure we got some movies downloaded so that way, if the power goes out or whatever, we have it, we can watch it. So we downloaded like 3 movies, and one of them just happened to be the movie Lights Out. Unintentionally, wasn't thinking that obviously if the power goes out, it is lights out. So power goes out. We got all these. We're all in one room. We got all these candles lit so we can see around the house in that room. And so we watched the movie about the lights going out, and it wasn't until the whole time watching the movie, it never even clicked that hey, when this movie's over, I can't just cut the lights on. The movie was over. I went to take my dog outside, and when I went outside, when I opened my front door, it looked like somebody had painted my screen door black. You couldn't see nothing in the front yard. So I took the dog out in the middle of the yard, couldn't see nothing. Phone was dead, no light. I mean, it looked like I was in the abyss. I turned around, and all I can see is the candle light from my front door glowing, and my wife standing there, and she was like, "Did you hear that?" And I was like, "No, I didn't hear it, but can you not say that? Because I can't see nothing right now." I couldn't do my hand. I was panicking, and then we got in the house, and I had no light. So it made it more fun to watch the movie with power out, but it just wasn't intentional. But it definitely spooked me most of that night.
But before we get to the third movie, I do want to do a kind of a cheap plug for a couple movies. I did catch within the last couple days. Megan. I saw that with it was a buddy of mine's birthday. So we went out after his birthday dinner. He wanted to see it.
So how did you enjoy it?
I did. It was predictable. It was everything you think it would be. It's Chucky. It was Chucky modernized. Chucky meets iRobot, sort of. I would probably, if I was to rate it, maybe 6.2 or 3. Maybe I'd say 6.3. Just because, again, it's predictable. You know what it's going to be about. You know what it's about. So essentially, in a nutshell, think of the life we have today with AI, right? Artificial intelligence with Alexa, because I don't want her to hear me because she's on my wall listening. Or your Apple, your Siri, right? The different things that we have in our lives to control things that we do or to replace things that we're missing. So that's what this movie's about. I definitely recommend it. Definitely worthy to be seen. Very predictable, but I thought it was well done. So that's one movie I've seen. And then another one, Christian Bale, Robert Duvall on Netflix, Pale Blue Eye. Solid 7 movie, 7.1. Incredibly well done. Christian Bale is incredible. Basically about he plays a an investigator in like an older wartime. This would probably be like, I don't know if it's Civil War or definitely 1800s, somewhere in that time frame. No, it's got to be before that because Edgar Allan Poe. Anyway, it's an older time period. He's called to West Point to investigate a suspicious death, and it just goes from there. And the twists and turns and suspense, all the way to the amazing finish of the film. I know Elliot actually messaged me saying he saw it. Is incredible. So those are two films, Megan in theaters and Pale Blue Eye on Netflix. Pale Blue Eye being the better of the two, for sure. I just think they're both incredible films, worthy to be seen. That was my cheap plug for two films, Jonathan. Did you have one more IMDb?
Hang on.
We got news. Yeah, you look
Dirt Sheet Radio.
Yeah, I figured. What we got?
6 minutes ago.
Jesus.
Breaking. Cassidy Haynes of Bodyslam.net reports that WWE has sold the company to the Saudis and they plan to go private.
Fake news.
That's what I think. But
read some of the comments on there.
Well, I'm
guys.
going to other. Trying to look at some other sources.
I can't even freaking talk because it's there's no way that's fake. They wouldn't report it like that.
So Sean Ross Sapp said, "Hey guys, one of the hot rumors is that Saudi buyers are interested in WWE. I gained no actual information thus far to indicate that this is actually happening outside of a few vague hinting messages from people outside WWE. WWE contacts claim to not know what the hints were about. 14 minutes ago, he replied back, more on the hot Saudi rumor that the WWE sale is done and they'll go private. I haven't confirmed any of this at all, but hey, you guys want to know what all of the dark Twitter tweets are about."
It's too hot. It's too hot of a story. It's done. It's done. Like I said from the beginning, and another thing, guys, when you do end up listening to this show, everything we do is sincere, unscripted, unfiltered. We don't research anything. We don't prepare anything because, especially in a time where you got a story like this happening, like while we're on the air live, we want you to hear our genuine. We want you to hear our genuine response and thoughts on a subject. So, it looks like it's a legitimate story break that World Wrestling Entertainment is potentially under contract for sale to Saudi Arabia and will be taken private. That's been released by several different reputable journalists. So we'll see what goes from there. Like, dude, like we start talking about something and then that happens and it's like I don't even know.
I don't even know where we're at on the movie situation. It popped up on my phone as you were talking about the Christian Bale movie.
Okay.
I was trying to verify some other sources first before I said anything, just because it when I first read it, I was like, that's fake. But then I was like, I don't know. I mean,
not like that. And they're not gonna joke about the Saudi Arabia purchasing. No. So, all right, let's back up. Let's go all the way back here. If WWE does sell to Saudi Arabia, what happens? Do you even have like a thought? I don't even know, because there's such a controversial hermit nation, right? But they're loaded, rich. Like Saudi Prince. I mean, he could. You see what with the shows that WWE currently has in Saudi Arabia. You know that
if Saudi buys WWE,
yes,
and they go private, you think Vince stays on board?
He might be like a shareholder, I guess. They might not want him.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. What if that was his reasoning? Oh, well, maybe they do want him.
I want to know what happens to the WWE product. That's what I want to know. With TV rights, dude, these major network deals aren't going to want a company owned by Saudi Arabia on television. For example, all right, well, let's talk about professional golf. Okay? You follow golf or you follow sports to that nature. That the company that Saudi Arabia formed to combat the PGA Tour, are they on television?
Not as much as PGA.
That's what I'm saying. Are they on American television? Do they show it?
I think so, but
I'd have to look. I don't know. But guys, this is taking us all definitely by surprise. No, it doesn't. It's not taking me by surprise. It's just I'm more shocked that it's happening as quickly as it is. Nobody should be surprised that this is true. It makes me sick, to be honest with you. Sami Zayn ain't gonna be champion soon.
that's what one of the first comment was like. Pray for Sammy. This tweet's just for Sammy.
So let's go back to my blood's boiling a little bit because it just goes to show money drives. That's all it is. It's money. Money drives. Money's the driving factor.
El Generico is all elite.
If I was anybody in WWE and you were looking for an out, if you were looking for an out but you couldn't get it, this is it. Has to be. And then you got Tony Khan. Is that a quote from Tony Khan?
I don't know if that was or not. Let me see.
That was interesting. Yes.
Tony Khan via Brandon Crouch.
Tony Khan says, I'm following the potential sale of the WWE very closely. You know, because he comes from a Pakistani family. Oh, Jesus. Gonna be amazing. It's gonna be something. Something.
All I know is with all this going on, whether anything break really, I mean, like that. I mean, that might have been it. That might have been the break. I mean, that might be true. But if anything's official tonight or tomorrow or Thursday, best believe if Tony's watching, that show tomorrow night needs to be fire, top to bottom.
Because he wants to impress the American network.
The whole show.
Absolutely. I agree with you.
Pot
100%.
shots included.
Pot shots. They need to go all out. They need to shoot on WWE for selling. They would need to shoot on WWE for selling to Saudi Arabia. Flat out. They'd have to cut him kick him in the balls. Have to.
Put Castro on commentary.
I'd want Punk on that show.
Well,
I'd want Punk.
It is match 7.
I'd want Punk on that show cutting a promo. I'd want something. Tony Khan needs to go all out. You're absolutely right. All out. Can you give me one more movie, man? You got to take my mind off this Saudi thing. Because it's going to make me go on my phone.
I got you. Well, real quick, you said Megan 6.263. Megan, so far, I mean, it's still early. It's, 6.7. So within 0.5.
Okay.
Either way.
Well, that surprises me that it was that much higher. And then I would go Pale Blue Eye, probably 7.273.
Let me look up that one.
I think it was the better of the two movies by far. The acting was unbelievable.
So what you rated that? What
7.273?
6.7.
So we'll stick at 7.2. It gets me that 0.5.
Before we go into I got 2 other movies pulled up, so we can talk about those. But before we talk about that, I just want to touch base. So I watched Where the Crawdads Sing.
Yes,
fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
I waited. I waited to watch it because I wanted to watch it with my wife, and she wanted to read the book first, so I let her read the book, and we watched the movie. But
how much? Because I don't read books. How much does the movie like?
She said it was good. She said it was. I mean, I don't know, but she said it followed the book a lot. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was definitely a good watch.
Awesome.
Terminator 2.
Yeah, that's wow. So where do you start with T2? By far my favorite Terminator movie, from Arnold on the bike to the way he cocks the shotgun with one hand, rides the bike through the gate that's locked with the bike. Does the famous jump. Bad to the Bone by George Thorogood. You had a young Edward Furlong. Robert Patrick playing the Liquid Metal. What do you want to? I don't remember what he was called. Not T1000, but that's gonna be tough. That is gonna be 8.2 for me. I do want to go off topic again. I'm going to read this because it's coming up. Breaking news, Cassidy Haynes of bodyslam.net. We already read it, but reports WWE is going to be sold to the Saudis, and they plan to go private. It's being reported by DAZN that under Saudi's public investment fund control, Vince McMahon will once again return to his role as the head of creative WWE. So what's interesting about this, though, is they're going to be private. So does a privately held company in the hands of McMahon change things a little bit? Is that different than a publicly traded company where you have to answer to the stockholders and worry about share price and cater and watch what you say, watch what you do? Now you're going back to a McMahon that was in the Attitude Era when company was private in the 90s. Y'all, Tony's pissed. Tony don't like this. I guarantee it.
T2.
Wow.
T2, sorry.
8.2.
8.6.
Within 0.5.
Within 0.5.
But
really
yes,
high.
Superb movie, man. It's almost like borderline perfect. I mean, you got to think a movie that was 1992, 92, 91. Again, it's on the level of Top Gun in 86. I think it's up there. Incredible. Probably my favorite Arnold action movie.
Something about Robert Patrick running.
Oh, his arms.
Yeah. I don't know.
He was fast.
Yeah.
Super thin too.
He growing up. Now maybe I was born in 89, so maybe it was just growing up with him. I mean, coming out in 91 was like the epitome of the bad guy.
Yeah.
For me. Like if I saw him in anything else, he just seemed like such a bad guy.
I like the part where he's like Edward Furlong calls home in the phone booth. Fake, it was Arnold. Jeanette, what's wrong with Wolfie? I can hear him barking. Wolfie wasn't really the dog's name. That's how he hangs up on him. Your foster parents are dead. Love it. One more.
The Mummy.
Oh, okay. 1998. 99. Brendan Fraser. Rachel Weisz. The guy that played the mummy, the bald guy. I can see his face. And the funny guy.
Arnold Vosloo.
The real
Vosloo something.
The funny guy that played Benny.
John Hannah.
I love No, John Hannah wasn't Benny.
No, Benny was Kevin O'Connor.
Okay, John Hannah was the brother.
Yeah.
The crooked brother, the thief.
Rachel Weisz's brother.
Yeah, Rachel Weisz. Oh, Rachel Weisz. Anyway, 7.8, I think.
So that would my rating would be up there. It's one of the
it's got to be over
movies,
7 though.
But it's 7.1.
Just missed it, but I'm gonna say that movie is better than what that rating is because just if you go back and as an adult, not as a kid when we watched it, but you go back as an adult and you watch all the interactions between the characters and you listen to the one-liners and the pot shots and my favorite scene in the movie is between between Benny and O'Connell. What was it, O'Connor?
Yeah.
Hey, he goes, "Hey, O'Connor, looks like I got all the horses." And then Brendan Fraser looks at him across the river. "Hey, Betty, looks like someone's on the wrong side of the river." That whole interaction was hilarious. Incredibly well done. Love the movie. One of my favorite movies actually of all time. What you got, buddy? What you laughing at over there?
Well, I will come back. I want to touch on the Mummy. So Brendan Fraser was asked about him if he'd be willing to go back to the Mummy franchise, and he said, like, without a doubt, absolutely. So
after the Tomb of the Dragon Emperor,
as much as
was that the last one?
that was the last one with him in it, with Jet Li. And then you had the Mummy with Tom Cruise.
God awful.
But I think
that movie should have been better than what it was.
It should have. But with nostalgic, being so prevalent nowadays, and just people, anything sequels and stuff like that, I could definitely see, Universal or Peacock or something doing a mini series or something with the Mummy and having Brendan Fraser.
They'd bring Rachel Weisz back because
it would be fantastic.
Brendan himself said it went down when Rachel didn't return to the franchise, and she was a big part. Yeah, so I agree. I think Brendan Fraser returning that role would be amazing. Because he's the perfect combination, man. He's got a good look to him. He's a good actor, but his comedy is so often overlooked.
So I was laughing. At this point, we're just going to keep going back to WWE.
We have to.
Somebody said if the news coming out is true, I fully expect so many wrestlers to walk. Ain't no way Sami Zayn stays in WWE.
Correct.
And the next comment said the Ring of Honor roster is about to be lit as
facts.
But the one I laughed at was said, adrenaline in my soul. I sold out my friends for Saudi gold.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I couldn't help but laugh when I read it.
So,
but that's more of an inside thing just with us with the adrenaline.
So the thing is, man, like a lot of the big talents, I'm gonna go out even further. So professional wrestling, right, is an emotional industry. Meaning, what I mean by that is, like, nobody puts up with the slaughtering of women and children. We don't put up with misogynists. We don't put up with homophobes. We don't put up with any of that in pro wrestling. We do not tolerate that. Right? Pro wrestling is, thank God, because I love professional wrestling. And if you follow Palmetto Championship Wrestling, you've seen it firsthand. But pro wrestling is one of the most diverse, inclusive, caring about everybody industry I can think of. And it's not gonna go over well with people within the industry that WWE is going to be funded or owned, not funded, owned by Saudi Arabia. It's not going to go over well. It's not professional golf, right? It's not like it's not where it's his own league, right? That demographic in golf is different than that in which professional wrestling is. Completely different. Completely different focuses, completely different things that are important to them. It's not going to go over well in the professional wrestling industry from top to bottom about WWE being owned or, I keep wanting to say funded, but that's not the right word, because they are funded by Saudi Arabia currently with the Crown Jewel shows. It's not going to go over well them being owned by Saudi Arabia. I'm interested to see what happens, who walks, because they're going to be given the chance to. No doubt they're going to be given the chance to leave. But I think of the age group, the age range, right? That 30 to 35, 30 to 38 range. Guys like Cody Rhodes, who just went back. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Ricochet, all that prime, in their prime, top tier talent. Then you got guys on the AEW side like Kenny Omega is definitely not going to be okay with that. CM Punk, how outspoken he is about women's rights, right? He's huge. Yeah. You see what I'm talking about. It's going to be ugly. And Vince doesn't care because now it's going to be private. So it's not going to have, He's not gonna have to answer to shareholders. But I can tell you right now, the reason Stephanie is gone is because she wants no part of it. It's not because Saudi Arabia didn't want her there. Maybe it does. We know how their views on women are, right? But this is more, people leaving is more the reflection of their opinion on this. That's my 2 cents on it. It's crazy. I just can't believe we witnessed all this happen within the last 2 hours.
That is wild.
That quick.
I mean, it was on my way here was when you sent me the first thing about Stephanie stepping down. I mean, that's why it happened so fast. That was about 3.5 hours ago, and here we are.
They're sold. They're sold.
Done.
I want to know when the terms of that deal are released. I want to know the money, because market cap is $8 billion, $6.5 billion. I think $6.5 billion. I bet you they paid double. I bet you they paid him $13 billion cash.
This one thing says that, one of the worst things, just from a fan aspect, is that Saudi owning the video library.
Oh, Jesus. They're gonna cut all the women out.
That they're pretty much gonna hold all this wrestling history, and they can just do what they want to with it.
It's sickening. Is there anything else there, buddy?
That's all I see right now. But
anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, never mind. I was about to lose it because I refreshed it, and the first thing that popped up was Tony Khan saying "No one is safe." Sounds like a plane full of wrestlers in Saudi Arabia, and I was like,
it's already started.
"Oh my goodness!" But that was from 2019.
Oh, I was going to say
retweeted it.
I was going to say it's already started. He retweeted it?
No, that somebody else retweeted it.
I was going to say Tony Khan's already started.
It popped up, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, it's about to go off." But anyways, we got a little bit of football to talk about.
Yes.
But before we get to that, we need to thank our other sponsor.
I don't even dare hit a button.
Shane wants to play the music.
No, I don't even think I want to. I don't even want to play the music, guys, just because I hit the wrong one last time and it was embarrassing.
It's right here.
Which one is it? No, that is not it. There you go.
I did it too.
Not me. Not me. Not me. Guys, we'd like to take this time to thank Revolution Nutrition out of Camden, South Carolina, in the heart of Dusty Bend. Revolution Nutrition is where community and nutrition meet. Located in Camden, South Carolina, they offer the healthiest protein shakes and iced coffees, energizing herbal teas, aloe refreshers, kid-friendly drinks, loaded teas, and nothing but positive vibes. Head on over to Revolution Nutrition in Camden, mention the lowdown for a discount, 10% off your purchase. How'd I do? Is that better?
Yeah, I kind of threw you off because I also hit the wrong button.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Nah, no way.
That was planned. I did that on purpose.
You got a loaded tea in that? You got a loaded tea down there, buddy?
No, I do not.
Just water?
Yeah.
I had 2 loaded teas today, 2 loaded teas yesterday. I'm pulling a Johnathan Winburn.
Loaded tea does sound good right now.
You know, plug for them, one of the most underrated drinks, loaded teas, the pink drink. It's fantastic. Anyhow. So, where we at? We got to talk a little bit of football. You want to touch on the NFL? Big shout out. Prayers answered, guys. If you don't believe prayer works, I do believe prayer works. You saw a world unite be behind Damar Hamlin in his circumstance with the Buffalo-Cincinnati game. Absolutely incredible. He's already been released from the hospital. He's in another hospital back in Buffalo, trending really good. He's tweeting. He's good.
Yes.
In a situation that could have been so bad, and it was, right. I'm not shortchanging it, but the outcome was incredible. And I commented on one of his posts, Damar Hamlin's tweets, where when it just happened, but he was already awake. He was awake the next day or 2 days later. They woke him up, and he was like, man, just for a moment, my situation helped unite the world.
Yeah.
So to me, that speaks a measurable amount to his character that he went through that situation. He did almost died. Was you want to call him dead? Was he dead? I don't know. Yeah, it could have been. Could have been medically declared dead out for a period of time. I don't know. Brought back, but in a situation that was so bad where he was not breathing, to only when he's awake, all he cared about was other people instead of himself. Selfless. Congratulations to Mark Hamlin. Look forward to everything you do in your life on the football field, off the football field. Doesn't matter. I'll be following you because I'm looking forward to it. But big shout out there.
I agree, and I think the NFL community, fans, teams alike, everybody, just rallying around him and the support for him was amazing to see. And I think everybody definitely handled it for the most part. A few here and there, but collectively, I think it was handled very well. Just the outpouring of support. But yeah, in the NFL, so I mean, we won't have to go through each individual game. I know we only got a little bit of time left, but big news. So Jacksonville beat the Titans, so that guaranteed their spot in the playoffs.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I mean got to give the Jaguars won, so you got to give them props. I don't think.
Shout out to Elliot too for calling that.
I don't think they played that well. I mean, Tennessee was on their third string quarterback. Not any excuses. I mean, Tennessee hasn't played well. I mean, they've lost like 8 straight. But I thought it was going to be a little bit more out of hand than it was. But I think Dobbs played well in considering it was only like his second start in his career. But you had the Seahawks won, and then Detroit beat Green Bay, which, I mean, all shout-outs to Detroit. They came on strong to end the year, but they knocked Green Bay out of the playoffs. And Geno Smith set the single-season passing record for the Seahawks, which is crazy to think after everything he's been through and then the seasons that Russell Wilson's had there. But and then oddly enough, the Texans beat the Colts by 1 point and basically gave up the first pick of the draft, all because they won by 1 point at the end of the game. All they had to do was lose; they would have had the first pick. Now it goes to the Bears.
I did not get that. I didn't understand that. The big news: Philadelphia Eagles won the first round bye and it won the NFC. Going to be interesting.
So did the Chiefs. So we got a quick rundown in the NFC. You got Seahawks and 49ers. And then the Giants versus the Vikings, and then the Cowboys versus Buccaneers in a Week 1 rematch. And the Cowboys didn't look good, so I don't know if that if that plays in their favor, because then it just.
I read an interesting stat. The Cowboys throughout the year, they lost the first game, won 4 in a row. Lost the game, won 4 in a row. Lost one game, won 4 in a row. Now they're on lost 1 again. So if they win 4 in a row, that's a Super Bowl win. So I'm not going to say it's going to happen. I'm not saying I'm thinking that's going to happen, but it's an interesting statistic. I'm scared to face Tom Brady. That's what I'm most nervous for.
Yeah, I don't blame you. AFC, you got Dolphins versus Bills, Ravens versus Bengals, and Chargers versus Jaguars. So I do think we have some good matchups. I mean, there's a couple of divisional matchups between Dolphins, Bills, Ravens, Bengals. Then you got the Cowboys matchups good just because it was a Week 1 matchups. Brady, Cowboys. I mean, it should definitely be the biggest draw of the weekend from a television rating standpoint. Super Bowl predictions. Who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl?
I'm going with, because I believe that we're going to. I'm not saying because I'm the fan, obviously, because everyone wants to see the team in the Super Bowl, but I'm going with Dallas Cowboys to push through, turn it around at the right time. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs on the AFC. So I'm going Mahomes versus Dak, Super Bowl. Chiefs win. My prediction.
So I am going to go with the Eagles for the NFC. I just think they're all season long. They've just collectively been a unit. So I think the Eagles are going to take it from the NFC, and then from the AFC, I think Buffalo's going to go. I think they missed out the last 2 years against Kansas City. I think all around, I think they're going to be gunning for KC for sure.
Guys.
So That's my Super Bowl prediction.
That's your predictions. Guys, it's been another great episode of the Lowdown Popcast. I'm Shane.
And I'm Johnathan.
And we just keep it popping.